Chapter 1. From the river bounding the city on the north, you saw only the magnificent skyline. You stared up at it in something like awe, and sometimes you caught your breath because the view was one of majestic splendor. The clear silhouettes of the buildings slashed at the sky, devouring the blue. Flat plains and long plains, rough rectangles and needle-sharp spires, minarets and peaks, pattern upon pattern, laid in geometric unity against the wash of blue and white which was the sky. And at night, coming down the river highway, you were caught in a dazzling galaxy of brilliant suns, a web of lights strung out from the river and then south to capture the city in a brilliant display of electrical wizardry. The highway lights glistened close and glistened farther as they skirted the city and reflected in the dark waters of the river. The windows of the buildings climbed in brilliant rectangular luminosity, climbed to the stars, and joined the wash of red and green and yellow and orange neon which tinted the sky. The traffic lights blinked their gaudy eyes, and along the stem the incandescent display tangled in a riot of color and eye-aching splash. The city lay like a sparkling nest of rare gems, shimmering in layer upon layer of pulsating intensity. The buildings were a stage set. They faced the river, and they glowed with man-made brilliance, and you stared up at them in awe, and you caught your breath. Behind the buildings, behind the lights, were the streets. There was garbage in the streets. The alarm sounded at 11 p.m. He reached out for it, groping in the darkness, finding the lever and pressing it against the back of the clock. The buzzing stopped. The room was very silent. Beside him, he could hear May's even breathing. The windows were wide open, but the room was hot and damp, and he thought again about the air-conditioning unit he'd wanted to buy since the summer began. Reluctantly, he sat up and rubbed ham-like fists into his eyes. He was a big man, his head topped with straight blonde hair that was unruly now. His eyes were normally gray, but they were virtually colorless in the darkness of the room, puffed with sleep. He stood up and stretched. He slept only in pajama pants, and when he raised his arms over his head, the pants slipped down over the flatness of his hard belly. He let out a grunt, pulled up the pants, and then glanced at May again. The sheet was wadded at the foot of the bed, a soggy, lifeless mass. May lay curled into a sprawling C, her gown twisted up over her thigh. He went to the bed and put his hand on her thigh for an instant. She murmured and rolled over. He grinned in the darkness and then went into the bathroom to shave. He had timed every step of the operation, and so he knew just how long it took to shave, just how long it took to dress, just how long it took to gulp a quick cup of coffee. He took off his wristwatch before he began shaving, leaving it on the wash basin where he could glance at it occasionally. At 11:10 he began dressing. He put on an aloha shirt his brother had sent him from Hawaii. He put on a pair of tan gabardine slacks and a light poplin windbreaker. He put a handkerchief in his left hip pocket and then scooped his wallet and change off the dresser. He opened the top drawer of the dresser and took the .38 from where it lay next to May's jewelry box. His thumb passed over the hard leather of the holster, and then he shoved the holster and gun into his right hip pocket beneath the poplin jacket. He lighted a cigarette, went into the kitchen to put up the coffee water, and then went to check on the kids. Mickey was asleep, his thumb in his mouth, as usual. He passed his hand over the boy's head. Christ, he was sweating like a pig. He'd have to talk to May about the air conditioning again. It wasn't fair to the kids, cooped up like this in a sweat box. He walked to Kathy's bed and went through